Let's do an art style study. Alright, for our first art study, we're gonna study Smile for Wolves art. They've got a very cute art style. These are the keynotes that I noticed with their art style and my guesses on how they work. You can pause and read it if you'd like to. But the main thing that I took note of when I was doing this first sketch was like the large head and the large eyes and the very round features. And very clearly from the end of this first sketch, it doesn't look very much like it, but that's okay. We make the changes as we go. With the next sketch, I started to really work on fixing the face because right now it didn't really read as their art style. It didn't quite have like the swooping motion that they tend to have with the eyes. And as I worked on the eyes, I realized I had the spacing wrong as well. I had them far too close together to be imitating their art style, so I went ahead and pulled them further apart. Their line work is very unique. As I looked closely, there were just like little discrepancies in the line work that led me to question how they did this. I went between thinking whether or not they used the lasso tool or there was a lot of erasing and drawing involved with their line work. Like a back and forth, not just using a particular pen. So I started with the lasso and I felt okay about it, but as it went along, doing the method of erasing the lines to get the features as I drew is what I ended up doing. I really had to study their line work to figure out how I wanted to replicate it though, because there was a lot of unique weight going on that in points didn't just look like using a pen that had like dramatic weight differences. I could be wrong though. Regardless though, it got the line work pretty close to theirs, at least I feel so. I'm sure you guys can let me know if you feel like I could have done it better in a different way. I'm always open to hear feedback. But with the initial line work done, then I moved on to drawing out the markings because they very specifically seem to outline all their hard markings, which is fine. I find that method pretty fun. I had to make sure to do the line art of the markings a slightly different color because they tend to do that. I feel like I stuck too close to black. I should have gone a little more dramatic, but I didn't, unfortunately. There wasn't too much to mention as far as like putting the flats in because it was just pretty much filling in the colors. I had to do a little marking to be able to bucket the sections because they tend to use incomplete lines, which means I can't just bucket right away, which is fine. It's a cool look. It's a very cool look. And then we came to shading. See, with their shading, I'm pretty confident that they use yellow to highlight in maybe like an add glow layer or something, maybe a screen layer, and they use purple for shading. In both their examples, this is pretty confident, maybe an orange, maybe yellow, but one of those. Then I had to pause and stare at their art way too hard to determine whether or not they had a clipping layer they use for their shading and highlighting because I'm lazy and I like doing that. But looking closely, I said maybe yes, and then I said maybe no, because the itty bitty bits right here, overlay, like a little overhang, I think like over here too, just these little features highlighted that they don't indeed use a clipping layer, so I had to manually do it. Which is fine, it's sort of a perk of these art studies, they have me working in ways I don't usually do. And this is how their art style study ended up. I think I got quite close, I'm very pleased with it. But how do you guys feel? Do you want me to study your art? You can join my Discord and submit your art to be studied. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, feel free to subscribe. Have a nice evening, everyone.